ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताई की जय। गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। लक्ष्मी नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन वर्तमान गुरु वृंद की जय। हिज होलीनेस जय पताका स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय। So I'm happy to be back in your forum. The last time that I was here, Damodar Month Challenge, and here we are today at the Purushottam Month Challenge, and it's so beautiful. I've been giving classes to different centers, and everywhere the topic is Purushottam Month, the Adhik Maas, and the fever is on all over all these centers. Extra stutis, extra chanting, extra reading. In our temple at Vizag also we are doing so many stavas and stutis, Brahma Stuti and Yugalashtakam and 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And then we are doing Chauragya Purushashtakam, and we are doing Nandanandanashtakam, and then we are doing Kaundinya Muni's mantra, and then of course the extra lamps and morning and evening, and everything is so wonderful. So I was just contemplating this morning that we're doing extra, everything extra chanting, extra reading, extra, but the biggest challenge or the real challenge of Purushottam Month is to shift our sight, see things differently. You know, whatever we are doing, seeing it differently, that is seeing Krishna in them. So today, I want to speak about somebody who actually didn't even have vision. He was blind, but he could see Krishna. And we have two beautiful eyes, but we are unable to see Krishna. So I want to talk about this very special person today, who was blind, a blind saint who saw Purushottama. And this is actually a real challenge, to shift our vision from this Purushottam Month, to shift our vision from fault finding to Krishna finding, to shift our vision from materialistic absorption to Krishna absorption, and how this saint did it so wonderfully. So we'll talk about him. Since when we talk about Krishna, devotees become very happy, and when we talk about devotees, Krishna becomes very happy. So we will make Krishna happy by talking about his very dear devotee. And also when we glorify a person Bhagavata, our heart gets purified 1,000,000 times more faster than when we are glorifying the Supreme Lord. And not only that, I was reading somewhere that when we glorify a devotee, 1/100th of the spiritual potency of the devotee gets transferred to us. And I was wondering, 1/100th is a little too much actually. That 1/100th can actually drown us in blissful Krishna consciousness. So today we will talk about this wonderful devotee whom even Srila Prabhupada has quoted many times when he says, we don't need material eyes to see Krishna. This blind poet Suradas, he saw Krishna. So we will talk today about Bhakta Suradas, a wonderful devotee of the Lord who had the real eyes to see Krishna. So this Suradas is, very dear to me, especially because I'm born in a Gujarati family, and since our childhood, since we were followers of Pushti Marag, and Suradas ji comes from that parampara, he was initiated by Vallabhacharya. So our childhood was full of hearing Narsi Mehta, Surdas, all his bhajans, all his different pada. So when we used to go to temple, we used to hear all his beautiful, like we have our Bhakti Vinod Thakur and we have our Bengali bhajans. The Gujaratis, they are very much addicted to hear Surdas, and his pada, they call it pad. The verses are so very beautiful, simple to understand, but hard hitting to the heart. So, and especially, like we used to hear Anup Jalota and Jagjit Singh and all, and they have made this bhajans of Surdas very famous. So especially my favorite in the childhood was Maiya Mori Main Nahi Makhan Khayo. So that is one by Surdas, where Krishna is arguing with Yashoda that I haven't stolen butter, mother, I haven't stolen. They are all simply blaming me. And how finally at the end Krishna accepts that actually I stole butter. And at that time Mother Yashoda says, no, you haven't stolen butter. So the whole thing is so beautifully described by Surdas ji. And then of course the very famous bhajan of Akhiya Hari Darshan Ki Pyasi. My eyes are thirsty to see Krishna, and that also a very beautiful bhajan by Surdas. Like that, there are n number of beautiful bhajans. If you are a North Indian and you are from a Hindi belt, then you know Surdas very well. So coming to Surdas' life, he was born in a Brahmin family. His father's name was Ramdas, Pandit Ramdas. Mother's name was Jamuna Devi. And he was born in a village which is called Sihi. Now this Sihi village is very special because, the Bhagavatam episode where Parikshit Maharaj gets cursed, and after getting cursed, after 7 days he's supposed to die. So when he leaves his body after 7 days, his son Janmejay gets very upset that this Takshak snake has the audacity to bite my father, touch my father's body. I'll kill all the snakes in this world. So he does an elaborate fire sacrifice and gets all the serpents, and one by one they're all getting sacrificed inside the fire. So then Brahma comes and stops, and he pacifies Janmejay. Look, everybody has to die one day, so come on, get pacified. This is all Lord's plan. So finally he stops the fire sacrifice. So that place where this fire sacrifice happened by Janmejay is a place where Surdas ji was born. There is a controversy about his birth and death years. Some people say 1478, somebody say 1481, somebody says he died in 1561, some people say 1584, but anyway, the years are not important. What is important is what he did between his birth and death. And that is what we are going to discuss today. So I've largely taken from different books, and especially there is this one book by Usha Nilsson written in 1969, which is authorized by GBC Shastrik Committee body. So Surdas ji was born blind from childhood. So there was no Buliya Tumare episode with him. The Bhakti Vinod Thakur's famous bhajan where he says, Buliya Tumare Samsare Asiya. Oh my Lord, I forgot you and I came to this world. When I was in my mother's womb, you gave me darshan for a few seconds and I had promised to you that I will remember you. But when I took birth, Svajana, all these relatives and my parents and all, they were so sweet to me and they were giving me so much love and affection that I got stuck into Maya and I forgot about you. I'm so sorry, my Lord. But that episode did not happen with Surdas because he was born blind. So he was not getting distracted by the materialism of this world, and also his parents were not very kind to him because they were thinking this is so inauspicious. How come our son is born blind? And they were actually ignoring him. So he had a very poverty-stricken childhood. So parents were also very poor. Now, Surdas ji is actually an avatara or an incarnation of Uddhava. So there are many versions to this about why did Uddhav come as Surdas. So some acharyas say that in Goloka Vrindavan, there was a discussion once going on between Radha and Krishna, and Radharani was telling Krishna that whom should we send to this material world to preach your glories, and while they were discussing this, Uddhav wants to come and see them. But Lalita stops and says, where are you going? So no, I just want to meet them. I have something to say. And Lalita says, you can't go. They are in a private discussion. And Uddhav says, you can't stop me. So Lalita says, you're trying to forcibly enter. May you become blind. So Uddhava says, for no fault of mine, you cursing me, I curse you also. May you be born in a Yavana family, because you don't know what is etiquette, you don't know what's culture. This is not the way to treat a guest. Now some other acharyas say that this did not happen in Goloka Vrindavan, this actually happened in Bhauma Vrindavan. When Uddhava came with a sandesh, with a message of Krishna to the gopis, and he met Radharani, and he met all the gopis, and he met Nanda Baba, he met Yashoda. So after that, he was visiting all the pastime places of Krishna. So there is one pastime place of Krishna called Nikunja, where he has intimate pastimes with Radharani. Uddhav was trying to enter that place. So Lalita says, don't enter that place, because that's a very special place. So Uddhav says, well, there's nobody in there, so I can just go and see. So Lalita says, no, there's always pastime, Nitya Leela going on of Krishna and Radharani. There you can't enter. So Uddhav doesn't listen and enters, and Lalita says, may you become blind. You're trying to enter a restricted area. May you become blind. And Uddhav gets angry and again counter curses, and may you be born in a Yavana family in the earthly, in the planet. Now, some others say that actually, during that conversation, actually, Uddhav was trying to drink some water, and Lalita said that, don't drink that, that's juta. Somebody has already, taken water from it, so don't take water from that pot. So now Uddhava says, don't you have a knowledge of Suchi Muchi? You don't know that that which has already been consumed by somebody should be placed differently, and that which is pure should be placed differently? You don't even know this much. The better you should be born in some Lecha, some Yavana family. So he cursed. And Lalita said, for no fault of mine you are cursing me. I simply told you that that is a contaminated pot. So why can't you see yourself? Are you blind? Why can't you see that that's a contaminated pot? So maybe you become blind. So like that, there are many, many versions to it. But whatever it is, ultimately both end up counter cursing each other. But Vaishnava Acharya says that this is all Leela. The actual reason why Uddhava came as Suradas is, when Uddhava went to give Krishna's message to the gopis in Vrindavan, he was so impressed by them. He was so much in awe of them that he wanted to glorify them. So he thought, in my next life, I should compose bhajans and I should let the whole world know how glorious these gopis are. So that is why he came as Surdas, and he wanted to glorify the gopis. So there are different versions. Actually, everything is orchestrated by Krishna. But, just to add a little masala, some leelas will be happening, and Yogamaya makes it very, very interesting. And just like I was hearing somewhere that even Mirabai, Mirabai was a gopi in a previous life. That's what I heard. And then she was getting married. So in Vraja, all the children get married, like the child marriages. So she was getting married to a gopa, and she was dressed as a bride. So Krishna tells her, see, in Vraja, the gopis, they keep the veil, the sari, the veil up to the nose. So Krishna was telling her, can you remove your veil? I want to look at you. How do you look? All dressed as a bride. And she was like, putting up her price, not showing Krishna her face. And Krishna says, come on, you're just going to enter the mandap. Let me just look at you, how you're looking. And then Krishna tells her, okay, you're putting up a price. Even I will do that to you. And you will long to see me, and you will cry to see me. And that's how she becomes Mirabai in the next life, where she's longing to see Krishna and always singing to see Krishna. So there are different versions to it. So anyway, finally, Surdas is in a very poverty-stricken situation, and parents are not very kind to him. Now in that situation, once it so happens that his father attends an Anushtan, a program. Now usually the Brahmanas, they get dakshina, some charity. So this time he got a big charity, 2 rupees. Now 2 rupees is a big thing those days. So he comes back home and he's with these 2 coins. I got 2 rupees charity today, and look at this. Now I don't have to work for another 6 to 7 months, and we will have everything we want to. So whole night he's unable to sleep. He's so excited. So he's telling his wife, the first thing I want to do in the morning, I'll buy rice, and then I'll buy dal, and I'll buy this, and I'll buy that, and we'll have ample food to eat. So he keeps on and on. And then his wife says, come on now, take rest, let the morning happen. So he tells his wife, I'm very much worried that I may misplace it somewhere. Can you keep it safely and then you hand it over to me in the morning? So she has a torn velvet cloth, a small one, a red color one, and she puts those 2 coins in it and nicely ties it up and puts it, under her pillow or under her bed or mattress. And next day morning, the husband is all excited and he's taken bath. Come on, give me coins. And she doesn't find them. And she's surprised that, but I kept it. I remember I kept it under the bed and I don't know why I'm not finding it. So now both the mother and father are searching everywhere frantically for the coin, the 2 coins, 2 rupees coin. And Surdas is asking the parents, Baba, what happened? What are you searching for? And they just shoo him away. What are you going to search? Anyway, you are blind. You can't see anything. So why are you disturbing us? We are looking for something very important. You sit down. You don't talk to us. And they keep searching. And then finally he comes to know that they're searching for the 2 rupees coin. So he says, Baba, I know where is the coin. But what's the point of having so much attachment to material things even after understanding the scriptures so much? And his father says, don't talk all these big things to me. If you know where is the coin, tell me. He said, I know. Actually, I know. But I have a condition. If I tell you about the coin, then I will leave. I will go to Vrindavan. I will not stay at home. So the parents said, fine, that's all right. Where's the coin? Now, they didn't take it so seriously because they were like children. They keep on telling something. Now, this morning only I was sharing with somebody that when my younger son, he was 4 or 5 years old. Now, for everything he used to blackmail us. Anything we don't give him, he says, okay, then I'm going to Vrindavan. I'm going. And he used to actually walk out of the door. And we used to never stop him. And we know what we'll simply do is he'll go and hide behind the door. And then we used to tease him saying that, oh, we have so nice cakes to eat and so sad Nima is not here. And then he says, no, I haven't gone to Vrindavan. And he comes back, and then I haven't gone, you can give me this cake. And then we used to laugh. What happened? You said you're going away to Vrindavan. So, devotees' children, where can they run away to? They only know 2 words in their vocabulary when they're very young, either Mayapur or Vrindavan. They don't know anything else. So now the parents assume that, small child, I will go away to Vrindavan. Yeah, okay, fine, go away to Vrindavan. Where is the coin? Tell me. Now Surdas had this special ability. Though he didn't have material vision, he could actually see things that nobody can see. So he says, Baba, in the night, some rats came and then they, took away the cloth. They were biting on the cloth and they dragged it up to the drain where mother washes the vessels. The coins are there. So now they run, both the couple, and they find the coin and they become very happy. And meanwhile, now Surdas is a blind little boy. He takes his sticks and he starts walking out. And then his mother says, hey, where are you going? I'm going because that's what we discussed, right? That I'll tell you the coins and then I'll go. Mother says, come on, Surdas, sit down. Where will you go? You're a blind boy. Who's going to take care of you? You have parents. Do you want to live a life of an orphan? You want to live like an anath when you have your parents? And then Surdas starts saying, who is anath? In this world, who can be anath? My Lord's name is Badrinath. My Lord's name is Dwarikanath. My Lord's name is Jagannath. My Lord's name is Srinath. My Lord is the Nath, the Lord of, of everybody in this world. So how can you say orphan? My Lord will take care of me. I'm not worried. Now the parents couldn't pacify him and they couldn't convince him. And then finally they thought, all right, fine. Whatever the Lord decides, good riddance. Anyway, we were not able to take care of a blind boy. So he starts walking. And now he was, very differently gifted by the Lord. Though he couldn't see, but he used to compose beautiful verses then and there and sing so beautiful verses about Krishna. So he starts singing that, a very beautiful verse. He says, Hari main nahi na tumne na, Hari main nahi na tumne na, Thamangariya जोन डगरिया थामंगरिया जोन डगरिया ले चलो मोहे जानो हरि मैं नैनहीन तुम नैना. He says, my Lord, I'm नैनहीन. I am blind, I don't have eyes. But tum naina, but you are my eyes. And then he tells something so sweet, which I like the best in this verse. Says, Thama Ungariya, you hold my hand. He doesn't say that I will hold your hand. He says, you hold my hand and take me. And I like that because I was just meditating on what Prabhupada once said, that when we chant our 16 rounds, we don't hold Krishna's hand. Krishna holds our hands. When we do our sadhana properly, Krishna holds our hands. And when Krishna holds our hand, then we are not at risk. Because when we hold, there are every chances that if Maya distracts us, we may leave Krishna's hand. But when Krishna holds, he won't leave our hand. Just like the mothers, in the marketplace, you go to a shopping mall, they will never ask the child to hold. They will hold the child's hand because the child may just run away seeing some nice toy. But the mother holds, the child can't run away. So I like this where Surdas says, Thama Ungariya, you hold my hand, my Lord, not me, you hold. If I hold, I may just leave you and go. And so beautifully, Surdas starts walking, and then a little far away, he reaches another village. And there, there was a little boy. You see, he was hardly 6 or 7 year old when he left home. Now, I was just contemplating that this 6, 7 year old, this 5, 6, 7, very dangerous age. If you see all these great devotees, whether it is Dhruva, he left at 5 years. You see Narada Muni, he became a devotee like at the age of 5. He was serving the Bhakti Vedantist, and then how he becomes a pure devotee. And then we see even Shankaracharya, he wanted to take sannyas at a very young age, and his mother says, you can't take sannyas, you're very young. Sannyas should be taken when you're about to die. You become very old, you're about to die. So next day he makes an arrangement. Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. So next day, both mother and son go to the pond to take bath. And out of nowhere, a crocodile comes and holds Shankaracharya's legs. And then Shankaracharya shouts, Mother, mother, look, the crocodile has hold me. And the mother starts shouting, somebody please help my son, help my son. And then Shankaracharya says, well, look, mother, now that the crocodile is going to eat me up, I'm going to die. And you said, I can take sannyas before I'm about to die. So this is my last wish. Can you just give me permission to take sannyas? And mother is like, but let me first protect. That's all right. At least I'll die happily thinking that my mother gave me permission to take sannyas. And she says, all right, I give you permission. And the moment she says that, the crocodile leaves. And now Shankaracharya comes back and says, thank you, mother. So you have given me permission. Now I'm going. So like that, Surdas was a very young boy. Now he left out of strong determination, but after all, he's a young boy, there's no food to eat. So he was sitting under a tree, and it has already been 2, 3, 4 days that he left his house, and he hasn't eaten anything. He was very weak and very feeble. And then he saw one man on the road frantically searching something. So what happened? He said, actually my 2 cows, I lost my 2 cows, and they were grazing just about here, and I don't know where did they disappear. Now Surdas, he can see things, right? So he says, well, I know where they are. They just crossed the bank. They are on the other side of the river, and they got mixed up with some horses, and they are inside a stable. A horse's stable on the other side of the river. Now this man runs and goes, and he finds the cows there. And he gets surprised. How did this little boy know? So then he comes and says, I want to gift you a cow. Surdas says, I don't want a cow. Can you just give me a cup of milk? I'm very hungry. He says, why a cup of milk? I'm giving you the whole cow. Surdas says, but I don't know how to milk the cow, and who is going to take care? Then this man was very impressed. So he says, well, I'll not only give you a cow, I'll also give you a servant who will take care of the cow, milk the cow, and feed you with cow's milk. And Surdas was very happy. Now Surdas' fame started spreading everywhere. Everybody was talking, that little boy who sits under the tree, he can predict things, So people started coming and asking, actually my daughter disappeared last month, can you tell me where she is? And then Surdas said, well, actually she's here, and this happened, that happened. People started coming up with all kinds of problems. And now Surdas, out of compassion to help them out, got lost into this world. People brought him riches, people brought him money, they built beautiful house for him, and the time flew away. Year after year passed, and Surdas was very busy sorting out people's problems, and then once in a while, of course, singing beautiful bhajans, but majorly sorting out material problem of the people. And then suddenly one fine day he was thinking to himself, Alas, alas, what did I do to my life? I was telling my parents, why are you behind the 2 rupees coin? And look what I've done to myself. I'm here sorting out all material problems of the people of this world. Then one day he announces in a sabha, look, all of you, from henceforth, from today onwards, I'm not going to predict anything, not going to tell you anything about past, present, or future. And then what happens? Lo and behold, people start leaving his association. They don't want to associate with him anymore. Everybody was just behind him for selfish reason because they were getting something from him. So slowly everybody said, oh really? Oh, that's all right, Surdas. I've just come back. My mother is calling me. And like that, everybody left. And finally, the person who had built a beautiful house for Surdas ji said, well, anyway, I need the house to give it as a dowry for my daughter's marriage. And finally, Surdas was again in a helpless situation, sitting under a tree. And then he started walking towards Mathura. And then he reaches Mathura, and from there he reaches Vrindavan, and he starts staying in a place called Goghat. And then he was staying there, and then he used to sing some beautiful verses, some beautiful pada, and people started liking him. So nicely he sings, So they used to come and hear him, and he became pretty famous. And then people brought him some bhoga, some prashadam, and life was going on. By this time he was already 30. He was thinking to himself, everything is okay, I'm in Vrindavan, but I want Guru. I want a Guru to guide me. So who is my Guru? Who can be my Guru? So he started praying to Krishna in the heart of his heart. I want a Guru. I want a Guru. And then what happens? Krishna, Antaryami in the heart, fulfills his desire. So just within a few days, Surdas gets a message that a very special revered saint called Vallabhacharya has just come back to Vrindavan from Prayag with lots of disciples. And he's an amazing saint. So then he thought maybe I should take initiation from him because I've heard a lot about him. So he started telling people, can you, take me to Vallabhacharya? I want to have an audience with him. Can you? But nobody was willing. Finally, one person said, what will you do, Surdas? You are blind. You can't even see him. He said, that's all right. But such a Mahatma, if he looks at me, I will be delivered. I just want to, once have his audience. So somebody reluctantly took him and then introduced him. Vallabhacharya ji, this is Surdas. He's our blind Asu Kavi. And they were praising. Vallabhacharya ji, he composes poems instantly. So expert he is. And then Vallabhacharya looked at him and smilingly he said, is it? Surdas, can you compose right now something and let me hear what you can compose? So then Surdas ji, he composes a very beautiful verse and he starts criticizing himself. He says, कौन कुटिल खल कामी मौसम कौन कुटिल खल खामी जो तन दियो ताही बिसरायो ऐसो नमक हरामी. Oh, I am a namak harami because the Lord gave me body, Lord gave me intelligence, Lord gave me everything, but I am not worshipping Lord. What a person I am. I'm so, I'm so lowly. And then Vallabhacharya smiles and says, okay, something else? Then he says another verse. He says, Hari mein patitan ko sartaj, Hari mein patitan ko sartaj, ko kar sake barabari meri. Oh, I am patit people, patit, the fallen conditioned souls. I am Sartaj, I am a leader of such fallen people. Nobody can barabari, nobody can equate me. So fallen I am. Nobody can be equal to me. Then Vallabhacharya says, okay, anything else? Then he composes another verse. He says, Nirbal ke Balaram. Oh, those who are Nirbal, who is their protector? Balaram, Lord is the protector of them. And then he starts glorifying that the Lord is so compassionate. He came and saved Gajendra in such a way. The moment Gajendra said Hari, just he said her, still the re is not even completely pronounced. But Hari came off with, on the top of his Garuda, running to come and save Gajendra. He came and saved Draupadi. He came and saved. So like that, Hari came and saved so many people. Oh Hari, will you not come and save me? So now Vallabhacharya says, stop that, Surdas. What all I hear in your verse is about you. You. What about speaking something about the Lord? So sometimes it happens in our life also. On the name of humility, we actually end up speaking more about ourselves than about Krishna. Actually, I am so fallen. Actually, I am so lowly. Actually, I am like this. But actually, humility is not only thinking less about ourselves, but thinking about ourselves less, and thinking more about Krishna. So he says, what are you doing, Surdas? You simply talk about, Lord, come and protect me. Lord, I'm like this, I'm like that. Why not talk something about the beautiful Leelas of Krishna? So, that's why Guru is Guru, I mean, you can't just match. You may think, I'm doing everything right. And the Guru may just come and tell you that actually what you're thinking right is completely wrong. And then you think, really, I'm wrong? I thought I was doing wonderful. So then he says, all right, now go and take bath in Yamuna and come back. So he goes and takes bath in Yamuna and comes back. And then Vallabhacharya for 1 month keeps on, reciting Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, Vallabhacharya's Subodhini. So he keeps reciting and explaining to him. And now when he got a guru, oh, so beautiful revelations. Now he's actually able to see those Leelas, as if he's there in that room when the Leela is happening. So the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto is in his, in his mind. And now he starts reciting so beautiful verses, intimate Leelas, and explaining them like as if he's just there. And when you hear his verses, you feel you were also just there in that room. And, when you saw that Leela happening. So everything was wonderful. And now his guru gave him Diksha in Pushti Marag. Diksha is called Brahma Saman. Just like we say first initiation, second initiation, they call it Brahma Sambandha or Brahma Saman. So now he got Diksha and all. So now his guru said, come with me to Gokul. So Gokul is the headquarters of Pushti Marag Sampradaya. So then he takes him to Gokul. Now his guru had a beautiful deity called Navneet Priyalalji. This Navneet Priyalalji is very beautiful deity where in one hand Krishna is holding Navneet, that is Makhan, butter, and in one hand he is holding a small katori, or you can say a small jug of buttermilk, with his hand like this. So very beautiful Navneet. Even today you can see Navneet Priyalalji. You have to go to Udaipur. 50 kilometers from there is a place called Nathdwara where you can see him. So now his guru says, Surdas, come on, sing something for Navneet Priyalalji. So now Surdas says, oh, I'm able to see a very beautiful Leela happening. One day, little Krishna saw that Mother Yashoda is having so beautiful dots on the top of her eyebrows. One white color, red color, white color, red color, white color. So he was thinking, even I want to put those dots. But he doesn't know where to get those things. So what he does is, he was a little boy, took some yogurt and he went to the Goshala and he took gobar. So what he did is, he put this Gorachan tilak. That is, he took a little gobar, cow dung, and put one dot with cow dung, and one dot with yogurt, then another dot with cow dung, then yogurt, cow dung, yogurt. But now he's a little boy, so he can't put it systematically one after the another. He puts it all over his head. And now it's all sticky here with the yogurt everywhere on the forehead. And his hair is like flying and then getting stick to that yogurt. And Surdaji is explaining that beauty, how Krishna is looking as if those bumblebees are, around his beautiful face, and all of them are relishing it while he's explaining it. Now there's another beautiful deity which are very, very important deity for the Pushti Marag devotees, is the Gopalji deity, which was discovered by Madhavendra Puri. So they call that deity Sri Nathji. Even today you can see the deity in Nathdwara, but those days the deity was in Govardhan, the Madhavendra Puri deities. So now, because he was doing so beautiful kirtan, his guru said that, okay, now Surdas, your seva is kirtan seva. Just like in our temple we get seva. You do pujari seva, you do those seva, and there is one devotee who is like, you have to do kirtan, darshanarti, mangalarti, bhogarti, rajbhogarti, shayanarti. So like that, now his seva was like, we do 6 times arati, the Gujaratis, they do ashtaprahar seva 8 times in a day. So he said, all these 8 times you sing beautiful leelas of Radha and Krishna, this is your seva. So now he was very happy. Now he had a service in the Gopalji temple. So every day from morning Mangalarti to night, he keeps on singing kirtan. Now the beauty about Surdasji was, he can't see anything, but he can see Krishna. So every day when the deity is decorated, he can see Krishna. And he used to describe the beauty of Krishna, just like in our ISKCON temples, we are very eager about Darshanarti more than Mangalarti, because Darshanarti, the Lord will be decorated very opulently. So every devotee will be like, how will Krishna look today? And how are the pujaris going to? Sometimes the pujaris have some grapes hanging here and some flower hanging from here and sometimes some leaves. And also we are all very eager, like, what will be the color of his dress? So similarly, everybody used to be very eager. And what Surdas ji used to do is, every day based on that dress, he used to sing, oh, today Krishna, you're looking all greeny, green. Look at your green color. Your green is like this, your color is like that. Oh, Krishna, today you are in yellow color. So, some people everywhere, there will be some people who are envious. They are like, what is this? How come he's able to exactly tell which color Krishna, because he can't see. We all know he's blind. How is he able to see? And some nice people were like, he can see Krishna. No, I don't believe that. He just wants to become famous. Probably every day in the night, he must be asking Gosaiji, he must be asking Pujari, what dress you're going to put for Krishna tomorrow? And then he just, starts singing so that people will think he's a great devotee. I don't believe that, he can see Krishna. So now he was very envious. So one day he said, I'm going to, do something and test it and let the whole world know that Surdas is a hypocrite. He is just doing it to become famous. So now, just to satisfy him, what the pujaris also accepted. So one day, just before Darshanarti, Surdas has arrived and all the devotees are waiting that what will Surdas sing today? And this fellow who was envious guy, he went and told Gosaiji, don't dress Krishna today. Don't dress Gopalji. Let Gopalji be just with his langoti, just the kopin and some pearl malas. Don't put any dress. And now he was thinking I did a smart thing, because you see Gosaiji, I suddenly told Gosaiji, so he can't even communicate this to Surdas. And now let's see what dress Surdas talks about, and the whole world will come to know about his, about his cheating. So Gosaiji agreed, because even he wanted people to know that Surdas is actually an amazing devotee. So that day they didn't decorate Krishna with nothing. He's just completely naked with just some pearl malas hanging on him. And now when they open the curtain, everybody is in shock. So now, this envious fellow is waiting. So he comes and says, Surdas ji, we are all waiting. Please sing. How is Krishna looking today? How is the color of his dress? So Surdas ji keeps laughing and giggling. Why are you giggling? What happened? Come on, tell us. So he said, I can't today, I can't. So why? Then he says a very beautiful pada. He says, Aaj hari dekhe nangam nanga. Oh, look at the Lord today. And he's just giggling. My Lord is completely naked. But still, even though he's naked, his nakedness is giving beauty to every limb of his body. And Surdas has joined all the milkmaid. Surdas has joined all the milkmaid ladies of Vrindavan in making fun of Krishna today, because he is naked. And look at that. Even he is laughing on himself. And look at that, he's laughing by showing all the teeth, Sometimes when you laugh in a big way, your teeth are seen. So when Surdas says that, he says that with such conviction. He says, look at that, even he is laughing on himself, showing all the teeth. And there, all the devotees who were present in the temple hall, irrespective of what was their status or level in Krishna Bhakti, they all could actually see for a fraction of a second teeth of Gopalji, where he's laughing, showing his teeth. Even he was laughing. And that day, that envious guy he just fell on Surdas ji's feet and said, I'm very sorry, Baba. I just mistook you, because I cannot believe that somebody can have such divine vision and somebody can see the Lord like this. So, and his fame spread all the more. Now, Surdas ji, he lived for a long time, almost more than 100 years. So when he became an old man, then his guru's son, Vallabhacharya's son, Vithalnath ji, he said, Surdas ji, Baba, you are very old now. You can't do things yourself. I want to give you a sevak who will take care of you. So he had a sevak called Gopal. Now Gopal was a teenager boy. And he used to take care of Surdas ji very nicely. So one day Gopal brought some nice hot lunch prasadam for Surdas ji. And then since he is blind, Gopal was holding his hand and saying, Baba, look, here is your plate. Here is your rice. Look, here is a dal. Here is a sabji. Okay, so you eat. I'll be waiting outside. Once you finish, you call me. Then Surdas said, but Gopal, where is water? Oh, Surdas ji, I forgot to bring water for you. Okay, just now I'm bringing water for you. And he goes out to bring water. Now he is a young boy. Once he goes out, somebody calls him for something else and somebody else is talking something. He completely forgets about bringing water for Surdas Ji. Now meanwhile, Surdas Ji has started mixing the rice and all and is eating. Now it's very dry and the rice got stuck in his throat. Now I don't know if you have experienced this. I've experienced it once. It happens sometimes, I was eating some pulao or biryani and it was very, very dry and it's sometimes it just gets stuck. You really need to take some water and all. Now it got stuck and he's calling out, Gopal, Gopal, where are you? Get me some water. But after some time he was not able to speak also. So nobody can even hear him. And he kept on calling, Gopal, Gopal. And then he became silent. He didn't know what to say. Now the situation was so bad, looked like he's about to leave the body. And just at that time, the real Gopal, Gopal who is on the top of Govardhan Hill. This is in Jatipura. So Surdas Ji was like living in the foothills, So then that Gopal comes running. Oh, where is this Gopal? He didn't give water to my devotee. So he comes with his own golden glass and he says, take this Baba, drink the milk, drink the water. So Surdas Ji drinks water and becomes satisfied. After two hours, the servant Gopal comes and says, Surdas Ji, I'm very sorry. I forgot to bring water for you. Here is your water. Then he said, what forgot? You came now and you gave me water. He said, no, I never came. I'm telling you the truth. I never came. I came just now. I forgot about it. Then he says, no, but Gopal came and gave me water. Look here. There is a glass here. And then they said, yeah. Oh, this is Gopalji's glass. How did you get it? Then Surdas understood that Gopal came with the glass of water. In Gujarati, they call Jhariji. Oh, he has come with his Jhariji. Then he scolds Gopal. Gopal, why are you doing like this? You should be careful. We don't want Gopal to serve us. We want to serve Gopalji, is it not? So now go to Vittalnathji and give this glass back. So then he goes back and he gives the glass, and Vittalnathji also comes to know about this episode, and he's in, oh, Surdas is so fortunate. The Supreme Lord came himself and gave water to Surdasji. So like that, on couple of occasions, like Lord himself used to come, and especially, Lord is very naughty, so he will do sometimes very, very naughty leelas with Surdas Ji. Sometimes actually give him trouble also. Sometimes the Lord does that. Like you see in Pandarinath, Pandarpur also, there is this very special leela of Purandar Das. How Purandar Das is a very, very amazing devotee of the Lord. And in the fag end of his life, when he became very old, he was staying in Pandarpur Dham. And every day in the morning, he had a servant who used to bring him water so that he can put tilak. So one day, he's calling out for his servant that I have to put tilak, and where are you? And his servant is delaying. So the Lord himself comes dressed as his servant in a disguise and gives him water to put tilak in a small water pot. And now he's an old man, and you know how old man and children are same. They get angry very quickly. So he gets very angry and he takes that water pot and throws it on the servant, thinking him to be servant, but he doesn't know the Lord has come himself. And that pot hits the Lord, on the forehead. And the Lord now is very naughty and he gets upset. He said, oh, Purandar, I came to serve you, and look at you. You hitting me with this pot. Oh, I'm going to teach you a lesson. So that night, what the Lord does is, he disguises as Purandar Das and goes to a prostitute. Now, prostitute means you need to pay money. So Lord says, I don't have any money, but I want to spend a night with you. But I have golden plates and, golden vessels, because, his devotees give him boga in this golden plate. So he gives all that to the prostitutes and spends a night with her. The next day morning, the pujaris are searching, where is Krishna's boga plate? Where is Krishna's glasses, golden glasses? What happened? So they announce all over Pandarpur, did anybody take it? Did any thief take it? Did anybody see it? Now this prostitute's mother, when she hears the announcement, she just takes it and she gives it to the pujari. Well, yeah, this is with me. Is this Lord's? They said, yes, this is Lord's. Who gave it to you? He said, Purandar Das. Yesterday he was there with my daughter, so this is what he gave in return. Now everybody got shocked. Purandar Das, such an amazing devotee, and he stole the Lord's vessels. An old man, and look at him, he visits a prostitute. Now the king got very upset and they call Purandar Das. Now Purandar Das, when he comes to know all this, he's in complete shock. He said, I never went to any prostitute. I was very much in my residence. I don't even know what you're talking about. Then this lady says, but sir, you were there with me yesterday night. Now they are all very upset with Purandar Das, and they're like, beat him up so then he will speak the truth. So they tie him to a pillar And they beat him and they beat him, So 1, 2, and he's getting this, And at that time, Lord appears and tells Purandar, this morning you bet me, remember? With that pot, I just came to save you. Now you're getting whipped. So how is it? Are you enjoying it? And then Purandar Das is smiling. Oh, so this is all done by you, taking a revenge on me, is it? So now they both are having conversation and he's smiling. And the others are wondering that why is Purandar Das smiling? He's getting whipped by us. And then finally, the Lord says, okay, stop that. The Lord comes in the dream of the king and says, well, Purandar Das hasn't done this and it's me who did all that. So even today you go to that temple in Pandharpur and you can see that pillar. They will show you where Purandar Das was tied and whipped. So sometimes the Lord can get pretty naughty and revengeful also. But of course, everything about the Lord is sweet. I mean, it may sound to us, how can Lord be that cruel? But Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram. His revenge is also Madhur only. There is some rasa in that also, which we cannot understand since we are not pure devotees. But the devotees enjoy every kind of exchange with the Lord. So, anyway, once it so happened that, every day Surdas used to sing beautiful bhajans. So 8 times in a day, the Lord gets his association. But in between, after the Rajbhog Aarti, when the Lord is put to sleep, till 4 o'clock in the evening, the temple is closed. But Lord doesn't want to miss Surdas association even at that time. So when Gosaiji closes the altar after the Rajbhog Aarti, the Lord jumps out from the window and goes and sits in Surdaji's kutir and just keeps hearing him. So he is very happy. So every day he is doing that. So one day Radharani catches him and says, Where are you going? I am going to meet my friend. Radharani says, can you take me? Then Krishna says, I can't take you. I'm just going to meet my friend and I can't take you everywhere with me. Radharani says, but I want to come. No, I can't take you. Okay, fine, don't take me. I will inform Gosaiji that every day after Rajbhog, you are leaving the altar and going. No, don't inform Gosaiji. Then take me. Oh, Radha, you are blackmailing me? Yeah, I'm doing that. But I want to know, where are you going? I'm very curious. Every afternoon I see you are jumping out of the window. Then Krishna says, I'll take you. But I have a condition. Don't you talk anything. Don't you say anything. Don't you do anything. Radharani said, why will I do something? I'll keep quiet. So you're promising me that, Radha? You will keep quiet, not make any noise, simply sit. Whatever I'm doing, simply watch. She says, okay. So now Radharani and Krishna, they both enter the kutir of Surdas. Now and Krishna is telling Radharani, sit quietly, don't make noise. He shouldn't know that we have come. So now both are sitting very quietly. And now Surdas is a very smart fellow. He can understand that Radharani and Krishna has come. How he can understand that? By the attar, the beautiful smell of the perfume. Okay, so Krishna has arrived. He knows this. Every afternoon it's a ritual. Krishna comes. So now he knows today Shriji has arrived. Radharani has also arrived because he can see a different fragrance coming along with Krishna's fragrance. So now he sings a beautiful verse. So one of their own intimate Leela, he starts describing. He says, one day in Vraja, Kishori ji and Kanha both were sitting together, and Krishna was asking Kishori, Teru mukha niko ki meru mukha, Shyama Pyari, can you tell me? Teru mukha niko. Niko means who is more beautiful, Shyama Pyari, can you tell? He was having a darpana haath liyo Nandana. So the Nandanandan was having a mirror in his hand and he was telling Radha, who is more beautiful? Am I looking more beautiful or are you looking more beautiful? So this is, and when Radharani hears these first 2 lines, she's super excited. But how did he know about this Leela? And Krishna says, I told you to keep quiet, don't make noise, simply hear whatever he's saying. And then he says, Radharani and Krishna both are, looking at the mirror, and Krishna is asking, Sach kaho Vrishabhanu Dulari. Don't speak lie, Vrishabhanu Dulari, speak the truth. Who is more beautiful? Am I more beautiful or you are more beautiful? Then, in that Leela, Surdas is describing, Radharani says, हमसे कहो खुद क्यों ना देखो मेरे मुख जैसे चांद उजियारो हम गोरी तुम श्याम बिहारी. So Radharani is saying, हमसे कहो, are you asking me? Why can't you see yourself? खुद देखो. This is such a simple question. There is nothing to ask about it. Look at me, हम गोरी. I'm so beautiful and good looking. And look at you, श्याम बिहारी. You look black. And then Krishna says, but I'm not talking about complexion here. Hello. I'm just talking who is more beautiful. Then Radharani says, well, look. Mere mukh jaise chandra ujiyara. My face is as if beautiful moon. Tumharo mukh jaiso rena andhiyara. My face is like a Purnima moon and your face is like Amavasya night. Now Krishna gets really offended. I mean, who does that directly on your face that you are Amavasya? Does anybody say that? At least you can be a little diplomatic, you know. How can you say I'm like Amavasya night? And then when Krishna gets all upset, okay, I don't want to talk to you. Then Radharani said, see, let me tell you something. First of all, your mother puts all thick kajal on your eye. You're talking about kajal and Krishna just, rubs his eyes and the kajal all over. Why are you getting so angry? Let me complete my sentence. See, your mother puts thick kajal on your eyes to make you look beautiful. But you know why I look beautiful? Because I don't put kajal. I have Kala Krishna, the black Krishna in my eyes. That's why I look more beautiful than you. Now Krishna gets pacified. Okay, all right. She looks more beautiful than me because my mother puts kajal in, but she has me in her eyes. Now I like it. And then Radharani says, well, look at you. So much strength you have. With your little finger, you lifted Giriraj. But look at me. You lifted Giriraj, but I am lifting somebody who is a lifter of Giriraj. Girivaradhari in my heart. So that is why I am very powerful. So like that, Radharani changes the whole context. And now Krishna becomes very happy. Now when this Leela pastime Surdas ji is very beautifully narrating, Radharani is so happy and she tells Krishna, can I just give him something? I just want to give him some gift. Can I just give him his vision back? And Krishna says, I knew that you will do that. Can you just keep quiet? I told you not to do anything. I know you will get too emotional. Now we have had our feast. We heard nice verses. Now let's go back. Radharani said, but now Surdas ji is able to hear their conversation. So he's thinking that, so Radharani and Krishna want to just leave without even talking to me. Radharani is going to leave. So now Surdas starts his Leela. He understood what's happening. So suddenly out of the blue he gets up and he takes his stick and starts walking out of the kutia, the small hut that he is, opens the door of the hut and he starts walking quickly. Now Radharani and Krishna are following, but where is this old man going? And he starts walking and he falls. He knows there is a small pit there, like a kind of a dry well, and he just falls down. Now, Krishna understands his Surdas trick. He says, now this guy is getting tricky, Radha. Let's go. It's time for us to go because anytime now, Gosaiji is going to blow the conch shell and we need to quickly go. So Radha, let's go. Radharani says, what kind of God you are? I wonder how people call you merciful. Your devotee is in the dry well and you are saying, let's go. I'm not going anywhere. Let's help him. Then Krishna says, you don't know how smart this fellow is. One day when he was like this stuck in a wall, I went and I gave him my hand, and the moment I gave him my hand, he was just holding it so tightly, was not allowing me to, leave. So there is this very beautiful bhajan that Surdas ji sings at that time. He says, हाथ छुड़ाई के जई रयो हो, हृदय से जाओ तो मानू, हृदय से जाओ तो मानू. So हाथ छुड़ाई के निर्बल जानो मोर, because I am an old and weak man, you are leaving my hand and running away, and you are thinking that you are very strong. Try to run away from my heart where I have captured you. Then I will think that you are really strong man. But otherwise, just pulling away the hand from a weak old man, don't think of yourself as very strong boy or something like that. So this is what he is, very tricky guy. Radha, let's go. Radharani says, but I can't leave him like this, we need to help him. Now Krishna says, but I'm not giving my hand. I don't want to risk my hand. Last time he was just holding my hand so tightly. Radharani said, all right, none of us will give hand. All right, come on, Kali Kamli, your black blanket. Give me your black blanket. Krishna gives his black blanket, and then Radharani removes her chunni, and then they make they tie it properly, and then they put it down, and then Krishna says, oh Bude Baba, we were just passing by and we saw you have fallen in the pit, so hold this cloth and come up. So Surdas ji said, well, where is the cloth? No, come on, see, it's right next to your hand. Come on, move your hand into front. And then finally Surdas ji holds it, and then so when Krishna is pulling it, Radharani is just watching. So Krishna says, what? You wanted to help him, right? Come and help me, hold my waist. I need help. So Radharani is holding Krishna's waist, and Radharani is pulling Krishna, and Krishna is pulling Surdas ji. Now, just about to, he's just about to come up now. At that time, Krishna warns Radharani. The moment he comes up, Radha, I'm warning you, he's a very smart old man. Immediately you should jump and move from here. Otherwise, he will hold you tight and he will never let you go. Radharani says, yes, I'm prepared. Both of us are prepared. And then finally the last stroke and he comes up, on the top of the pit, from that pit. And the moment that Krishna is very agile, he immediately moves from there. Because he moves, Radharani is just behind him. And Surdas is also very swift. He just holds Radharani's feet. And now Radharani is stuck, Surdas is holding his feet and Krishna was laughing. I told you to be quick. And then now Surdas is just holding her very tightly and who is this? And then Krishna says, well, Baba, she's my Sakhi, my friend. She came with me. We both were trying to help. Now let us go. So now Surdas was very smart. While holding Radharani's feet, he took out one anklet of Radharani and then kept it in, and then he hid it in his waist, and the dhoti, he just plugged it. And then Krishna was telling Radha, now let's not waste any more time. Gosaiji will scold us. Both of us are out of the altar. Let's go. So he's just pulling Radharani and they both ran, And Surdaji is still talking, but they said, no, we are going. Our mother is calling. We have to go. And they ran. Now in the middle of the road, Radharani says, well, hold on. One of my anklet is missing. Krishna says, forget about the anklet. I'll get you a new one. Now let's go because Gosaiji may be blowing the conch shell any moment. Radharani says, I'm not going. I want my anklet back. Now Krishna is like, that is why I don't want to bring you. I told you I'll not bring you and you forced me. And now look, you're making an issue. No, I want my anklet back. And then Krishna says, all right, now start searching. Where did you put your anklet? Where did you throw it? No, I didn't throw it. It must have slipped it. It must have slipped my feet. And then they started searching and finally they came back to Surdas. And then I asked Surdas ji, have you seen an anklet? Surdas ji said, how can I see? I'm a blind man. I can't see anything. Have you seen an anklet? My Sakhi's, my friend's anklet is missing. Now while talking like this, they can see the anklet right there in the waist of Surdas ji. And Krishna says, well, that's it. That's the one we are searching. Oh, is this the one? Oh, this is called anklet, is it? Okay, now come on, give the anklet. Then Surdas ji said, well, I can't. No, but this is a pair, it's my friend's anklet. She's already having one of it and this is from her other feet. Then he says, well, how do I know? Just after you leave, somebody else may come and say that it was our anklet. So unless I see the original anklet, I can't. So then Radharani and Krishna, they give Surdas ji the divine vision. And now he's able to see Radharani, he's able to see Krishna. And then Radharani shows her feet. And then Surdas ji compares, yes, this is your anklet. And then he just puts the anklet for Radharani. And then Radharani and Krishna were so pleased with him. And then they're about to leave after all the darshan. And Surdas ji says, hold on, my lord, don't go just now. Can you please take away my vision? Because the vision was required to see you. There is nothing else interesting to see in this world. So now that I have seen you, I don't want my vision. Can you take it back? I don't need it. And Radharani and Krishna are in tears. Look at his devotion. He doesn't even want to see anything except us. So they again take the vision back. And then Surdas is on his own, So so many beautiful bhajans are there. And what I really like about this pastime is the fact that just the fragrance of Krishna. We hear in 64 qualities of Krishna that the fragrance that comes from Krishna's body is very special. And by these pastimes, we can understand that pure devotees of the Lord can actually smell Krishna in the air. And I'm reminded of one pastime recently, I think, not recently, maybe 3-4 years back, I went to Sri Rangam. And the one of the pujaris was telling me one very beautiful pastime. And I was asking him, why they call Nam Perumal? What is this meaning of Nam Perumal? And he was telling that during the British rule or something, or they were afraid of some kind of attack. So at that time, they had hidden Ranganathji in Tirupati. So for 75 years, the Ranganath deities, the original Ranganath deities of Sri Rangam were hidden in Tirupati. And meanwhile, they had some Pratibhu Vigraha, which looks just like Ranganath. So that the original deities are safe, which were given by Lord Rama to Vibhishana. After 75 years, when things got cooled down and all, and somebody, had that, the actual deities are in Tirupati, so they brought the deities back. Now 75 years is a long time. So the devotees here said, actually this is the original deity, because I saw my grandfather also worshipping these deities. I don't think this is the original deity. Now the person who was the caretaker of these original deities for so many years in Tirupati had very kindly brought the deities back, right? Maybe his generation, his grandfather must have given him the service to take it back someday to Sri Rangam. Now whom to ask, because both of them look same, alike, which is the original and which is the, you know. So then they had this very old man. He was a son of a washerman who used to wash every day Ranganathji's dhoti. So now he's already an old 80-year-old man. So they ask him, you know, how do we know? So he says, bring the Lord's dhoti, because I can understand by the smell of the Lord's dhoti. So they brought dhoti to him, because he said, when I was a young boy, I used to wash Lord's dhoti. So when they bring both the dhotis, then he smells the dhoti of this and says, Nam Perumal, this is our Lord. I can smell the fragrance of Ranganathji. That's why it's called Nam Perumal, the dhoti, you know. So the devotees, pure devotees, they can smell Lord. Not only they can see Lord, talk to Lord, but they can even smell Lord, you know. And Lord also does all kinds of naughty pastimes with his devotees, you know. When I talk about Tirupati, one of my other favorite pastime connected is about Anant Alvar. There was this Alvar who used to take care of beautiful gardens on the Tirupati hill, and every day plucking flowers and making nice garlands for Balaji. So every day the garden was so beautiful that every day in the night, Lord Balaji and Padmavati used to come there and have a nice time in the garden, play around, dance, and nice fragrances coming of the nice flowers that he's growing, and a cool breeze. So they used to have good time. But sometimes, you know, the couple used to play such games of hide and seek and chasing each other, that in that process they used to stamp on small plants, and sometimes, you know, pluck the flowers in such a way that the whole garden used to become like, you know, this way, like shattered, you know. So Anant Alvar used to always wonder in the morning that I take care so nicely the garden. Who is coming? Some wild animal or somebody is coming in the night and spoiling the whole garden. Look at that. The jasmine shrub is this way, that way. This tree, you know, the branch has, you know, coming down this way. What's happened? Who's plucked my flowers? What is happening? So one night, Anant Alvar, he stays awake whole night, you know, watch guard to the garden, that today I'm going to catch those people who are coming and disturbing my garden. So lo and behold, he sees this beautiful couple. He doesn't know it's Balaji and Padmavati. This beautiful young teenager age couple coming and playing around. And he says, oh, I caught you. So you are the people who are spoiling my garden every night. So he starts running and chasing them. Now the moment Balaji and Padmavati sees it's Anant Alvar, they start running. Now Balaji is expert in running. Krishna, I mean, he's used to stealing butter and run away, so he's expert. But Radharani is not expert in running. She hasn't done that kind of thing. So Krishna just runs away, and Padmavati gets caught by Anant Alvar, and he doesn't know that she's Sakshat Lakshmi. So he catches her and ties her to a tree and says, so okay, young lady, you're the one who's spoiling my garden every day. And she's like, well, actually, no, I saw you doing that. Come on. So now she's saying that I'm from a good family. I'll not do that again. Please, can you leave me? Because it's already night. If I don't go home, you know, my family will be worried about me. So I'm not leaving you. Since you said you are from a good family, I'm sure your parents will come searching for you. And then I'll tell them what you have been doing. You know, a girl from a respected family spoiling somebody's garden every night. Now, meanwhile, now the Mangala Darshan has to happen, so Prabhatam, and the altar is open, and the Pujari, and now Balaji temple, if you have seen it, it's like pitch dark inside. They don't have any artificial tube lights or halogens, and only with the lamp, you know, you can see the whole beautiful Balaji's form. So now the Pujari, he starts the Mangala Darshan, and then they start offering the lamp, and it's going round and round, and when it comes to the Lord's chest, Lakshmi Devi is missing. So the Pujari asks the Lord, where is Lakshmi Devi? Now Balaji looks down, you know, and he says, well, actually, she's caught by Ananta Alvar. What? And then Lord explains everything. Well, actually, Lakshmi is there and she's caught by Ananta Alvar. Then all the pujaris start laughing, and then they all go in a procession, and then, you know, to inform Ananta Alvar that, well, actually, she's Lakshmi Devi. And then, you know, the moment they enter the garden and they explain all this, and Ananta Alvar is shocked that I tied the mother of the universe. And then now he says, I won't bring Lakshmi Devi just like that. Now she's become my daughter. So I will bring her in a beautiful flower basket. So then now he places Lakshmi Devi in that flower basket, and then and then he carries her and then enters into the sanctum sanctorium and hands over his daughter now, Padmavati, to Balaji. So Anant Talwar becomes father-in-law of Balaji, and then gives dhoti and all that to his son-in-law. And it's a very long story. Let's come back to Surdas. So well, anyway, so the devotees of the Lord, they can smell the Lord, smell the fragrance of Lord's body. So now, like that, many beautiful pastimes happen with Surdas Ji. And Surdas Ji also met Akbar in 1613. Now, how did that happen? Tansen, who was Akbar's court poet, was once singing a verse from Surdas bhajan, and then Akbar said to Tansen, "So beautiful this is. Who composed it?" So he said, "This is Surdas. So can I meet him?" They say, "He won't come. He sings only for Krishna. If you want to meet him, you'll have to go." So then Akbar travels all the way from Agra to Mathura, and at that time the Srinathji deities, Madhavendra Puri's deities, were shifted to Mathura. They used to sometimes shift it here and there just to save it from these Mughal soldiers. So then Akbar meets Surdas Ji there, and he hears beautiful bhajans and is so happy with him. And then Tansen tells that actually a warrior may feel painful when an arrow is stuck in his heart, but that is only for one time. The pain lasts only for one time and he dies. But Surdas Ji's words touch so hard. They keep piercing you again and again and again. The more you remember them, because his words, his kirtans, his bhajans are so strong worded, and they just remind you of how this world is temporary and how the goal of our life is to go back home, back to God. So like that, on 2 to 3 occasions, Akbar met him. On the second occasion was something very sad, because what had happened is Jodhabai, Akbar's wife, she was a Hindu. And while staying in Delhi also, every day in the evening, Jodhabai used to go to the Yamuna and do Yamuna Arati and offer a lamb to Yamuna Ji. So one day when she was offering a lamb, she found a small baby covered in a white cloth lying on the bank of Yamuna river unattended. Somebody had left the baby there. Then she immediately picks up the baby and she says, "Okay, I'll take care of the baby as my own daughter." So she brings her up. So now the baby has grown into a young girl, now almost all 12 to 13-year-old girl. Now one day she observes that this 13-year-old girl, every day in the evening, she goes to Jodhabai's room, and wherever all that makeup is there, the ladies, whatever they do, that lipstick or whatever, she puts it on so beautifully, and she decorates herself so beautifully, and she runs on the top of the terrace and stands there. Now Jodhabai was wondering, why does she do this every evening? So one day she catches her, said, "Where are you going and why do you decorate yourself like this?" Then actually I go there to meet somebody. "Who is that? Take me also." Then she takes Jodhabai with her. And then on the terrace, what did she see? She says, "Every day Krishna comes, after grazing the cows, and I can see him from the terrace. You look at that, mother. That's Krishna." And then Jodhabai looks there, and she can also see that there are so many cows and many cowherd boys. But she can't see Krishna. She said, "Where is Krishna?" "Oh, you can't see? There's Krishna. And then Jodhabai starts crying that, "I can't see Krishna." So then this little girl says, "That's why I decorate myself every day, because Krishna is going to see me." So now what happens? Every day Jodhabai starts spending a lot of time with this little girl. Now Akbar comes to know somebody is there in the palace who I'm not aware of, and Jodha is off late ignoring me. So with his Guptachar, all the secret Guptachars, he comes to know that there is a girl taken care by Jodha. So he says, "I want to see that girl." Now Jodhabai is very much afraid, because these Muslim kings, and he may just want to marry her or something, or they don't care about age or something. So Jodhabai was very scared, but he's a king after all, Badshah. So she brings the daughter. Now when the king Akbar looks at her beauty, says, "Arrange for my marriage. I want to marry this girl immediately." Now nobody can say anything, but the moment he says, "I want to marry her," his whole body starts burning, a different kind of a burning sensation. He doesn't know what to do about it. So they call all the doctors, they call everybody. Nobody is able to help him out. Then somebody tells him, "Why not call Surdas Ji? He's a pure devotee of the Lord. If he blesses you, everything will be fine." So then with lot of endeavor and request, they bring Surdas Ji. Then Surdas Ji says, he can't see, but he says, my dear king, just meditate. Did you make any offense to any devotee? Did you do something wrong? He said, I don't remember doing anything. I'm quite generous actually in giving charity to every religion. He said, no, just think. Then he said, well, nothing. I was just getting prepared to get married to this girl. Which girl? What girl? Bring the girl. So then they brought the girl in Surdas' audience. Now Surdas can't see her. But the moment the girl enters, Surdas says, oh, she is Lalita Sakhi. And then now, Surdas and Lalita both have a conversation because both had cursed each other, Uddhava and Lalita. And in fact, Krishna had intervened and had told both of them that when you actually see each other, during this avatara, then your curse, whatever the time that you had to spend the curse, that time will be completed and you can come back. So now Lalita says, oh, thanks. I'm happy to see you back, Uddhav. And now that since I see you, now my curse is over, so I'm going back to Goloka Vrindavan. So she immediately burns herself with the fire coming out from her heart and turns into ash. And Surdas takes that ash and he puts it on his head. Now, Surdas also can leave now. It's over. The curse is over now, the moment they saw each other. But Surdas had a transcendental greed. He didn't want to leave. Why? Because he wanted to make a special offering to the Lord. He had promised the Lord that, my Lord, you like my verses, right? So I will give you a gift of 1,25,000 verses. But till now, Surdasji had written only 1 lakh verses. So he thought, I have to complete those 25,000, so I can't go back till I complete my promise. But the Lord was also equally eager to get Surdas back. So once Lord tells Surdas, come back now to Goloka Vrindavan. It's all done, Baba. Your Leela is over. Surdas say, I can't come. I have to complete now. Only 1 lakh are over. Then Lord says, no, actually 1,25,000 is over. Count. Surdas says, what is there to count? I wrote it myself. Then Lord says, well, actually another 25,000 I wrote it. So that you can complete your figure of 1,25,000. Now come back with me. So there was a difference in what Surdas wrote and Lord wrote. So whatever verses were written by Surdas, that verse ends with Surdas kahe. Surdas is saying like this. And whatever verses the Lord wrote, 25,000, that ends with Surashyama. Surashyam says like this. So the Lord of Surdas say like this. So now Lord says, come on now, it's all over, you come. So of course, unfortunately, out of that 1,25,000 verses, only 8,000 are still available. Rest are all gone. In fact, after Surdas left the body, Akbar was so attached to Surdas, he told that whatever those 1,25,000 verses are there, whoever brings me all those verses, I'll give them lot of gold coins. So what people did is, they were not able to find all the manuscripts. So they wrote on their own and they said, this is written by Surdas. Now not 1,25,000, 2,25,000 verses came. And everybody said, this is by Surdas only, this is by Surdas only. And now he thought, how will I know which is by Surdas and which is not by Surdas? Then some Vaishnava Acharya told Akbar, do one thing, take all those 2,25,000 verses and throw them in Yamuna. Those verses which are written by Surdas will float, and the rest of them will get, will go inside the water. And that's what happened. And then that way he could recover the original 1,25,000 verses written by Surdas. And then of course, over a period of time, they got all lost. So like that, there was amazing pastimes. And one more favorite pastime of mine I'll tell, and then I'll close today's session. There was one very miserly shopkeeper in Jatipura, and he was a baniya, like, how do I tell you, like pakka businessman. He's not interested in any spiritual this and that, but want to take advantage of everything and make money. So he used to put tilak, he used to put kanti, but never chant, never go for darshan of Srinathji, never took diksha, nothing. But what he used to do is that he had a shop like an agarbatti, some clothes, some Thakurji's paraphernalias, and all the pilgrims and yatris who used to go for darshan on the top of Govardhan to see Madhavendra Puri's deities, Gopalji deities, and when they used to come down, he used to ask them that how was the darshan today, and somebody used to explain, yeah, today Krishna wore red color dress, this, and picking up that, the other yatris who used to come, he used to explain in a very poetic way. Oh, today the darshan was so beautiful, is it not? Oh, my eyes were completely full of tears seeing today's darshan. What do you say? And they used to think, look at this guy, so nice devotee. So they used to trust him all the more and never bargain for anything. Whatever price he used to quote, people used to buy. Now one day Surdasji was I mean, looking at him, the way he does business and all, I'm just hearing his conversations. And then Surdas ji was thinking in his mind, maybe actually I should help him to become devotee, because he's acting like a devotee. Just like the Lord, Putana was acting like a mother, and Lord actually made her mother a nurse in Goloka Vrindavan. So Surdas ji was thinking that he's acting like a pure devotee, that my tears came in my eyes seeing today's darshan. I'll actually make tears come in his eyes and actually make him a devotee. So I was just thinking that anybody to become devotee, we either need our previous life credits or we need a devotee's intervention. Otherwise, it's very difficult on our endeavor to actually become a good devotee. Some Purva Janma Sukriti or some devotee's intervention in our life can make us good devotee. Just like Giriraj Maharaj says how in Boston, when he first met Prabhupada and he asked a question, and second time when Prabhupada came to Boston temple, he again asked a question. And by this time he was already a devotee with tilak and dhoti kurta. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, the first time I saw you, I was praying to Krishna that Krishna, this boy is so good, make him a devotee. And look, now you're already devotee. And Giriraj Maharaj said that, and at that time I understood that this pure devotee is praying for me. That's why I became a devotee. Otherwise, I was thinking, how come I became a devotee? With all the, kind of family born in a Western world, how did I become devotee? Because this pure devotee was praying for me. So somebody, some devotee prays for us, only then there is some hope. So Surdas ji was so kind, out of the blue, causeless mercy. He thought, let me make him a devotee. So he goes and tells his Baniya, hey, I know your secret. You're not even initiated. You're wearing this kanti, tilak, and you're acting like a devotee just for business. I'm going to expose you. Oh, no, Surdas ji, please don't do that. Why are you doing that to me? Okay, I won't do that. Come for darshan. That's all. I'll come, Surdas ji, no problem. You want me to come for darshan? I'll come. Yeah, you should come for darshan. Okay. But he never came. The next day he never came. The other day he never came. 3 days passed. Then Surdas ji said, you said you will come for darshan. What happened? Oh, I want to come for darshan, but I don't know the timings. What time the darshan opens? I have to climb the hill and come now. I didn't know, and who will come and tell me? Then Surdas ji said, oh, nothing to worry. Every day I'll come and take you because I have to go for my Kirtan Seva. So Surdas ji started coming and telling him, chalo, come on, let's go for Mangalarti. Oh, Mangalarti, I can't come. It's too tiring because, whole day I have to work. I'll come for Darshanarti for sure. Then Darshanarti, come on, let's go. No, Darshanarti, I can't come. Because you see, I have to, clean my shop, just open, right? Because it's all dust and all. I have to just do the dusting and all that. So I can't come. I said, come on, Rajbhog Aarti, I can't come, Surdas ji, because after Rajbhog Aarti, immediately the yatris will come. So I have to sell. That's my business time, the main time. I can't come. Then again it came at 4 o'clock. So now let's go. 4 o'clock Aarti, I can't come, Surdas ji, because the cows come now from grazing. They may enter my shop and they will just eat off something. I have to protect my shop. In the evening, he said, at least now you come. Oh, now I can't come, Surdas ji. Sandhya time na. I have to light the lamp. Otherwise, Lakshmi Devi will be upset with me. I'll come in the last Aarti in the night. And then he said, last Aarti, when Surdas ji came, now come. Now I can't come. It's time to wind up. You whole day I worked hard, Surdas ji. Tomorrow I'll come for a shot. Now Surdas ji said, you are cheating me. I don't think you're going to come. I'm going to now expose you to the people. They said, no, I'll come just now. You want me to come, right? Let's go. Come on, please hold my hand. Let's go. So then Surdas ji holds his hand and takes him for darshan. And this is the first time this Baniya, this shopkeeper, sees the Lord. First time, he has never entered that temple. And now, if he's recommended by the pure devotee of the Lord, what must have happened to him? Now, when he was standing in front of the Lord, Surdas ji is praying, my Lord, please, make him a devotee. And the way Lord gives darshan, this shopkeeper, he starts crying and crying and crying. He says, what did I do? I wasted my life not seeing this beautiful form of the Lord. I don't want any more shop and all that thing. He donated everything what he had. In those days, he had some 60,000 something. He donated everything, became a devotee. Not only he became a devotee of that level that he was able to see the Leelas of Krishna, Radha and Krishna. That level of devotee he became. And then Surdas ji became very happy. So, there is a beautiful pada by Surdas ji. He says that where he is singing to the Lord. Prabhuji more avaguna chitana chahe to par karo. Prabhuji more avaguna चितना धरो, समदर्शी है नाम तिहारो. So he is telling the Lord, don't you even think about not delivering him, because your name is Samadarshi. You are equal to everybody. And then he goes on explaining that verse and he says that, Ek loha puja mein rakhat. So there is one sword which is kept in puja room, and there is one sword which is kept in a butcher's house where he chops the animal. But when you bring the Chintamani stone next to the iron, the Chintamani stone is not thinking that whether I should make this iron into gold or not, because this is a butcher's sword. It doesn't differentiate between anything. It makes both of them gold. So similarly, my Lord, you are also Samadarshi. You should not think that he is a devotee, he is not a devotee. Deliver everybody, he says. So this is a very beautiful verse. He says, So duvidha paras nahi dekhat, Kanchana karat kharo. Kanchana. So that Parasmani, he doesn't have that kind of distinction. Kanchana karata kharo. He makes both the sword into gold. So you also please make him a devotee. So like that the Lord makes him a devotee. So like that anybody who was coming in touch with Surdas, they were all becoming devotee. Surdas is very, very special to the Lord, because we all know how special Uddhav was. Even when the Yadu dynasty, everybody got destroyed by the curse of the sadhus, and even Lord took the curse upon himself and left the body. But he protected Uddhav and he told him that go to Badrika Ashram and give your association to the saints in Badrika Ashram. So he was very special. In fact, Uddhav was a Devata. He was a Vasu. So many times, people used to ask him that, how did you end up becoming an intimate associate of the Lord? And Uddhav said that it's all because I took shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he said that my Guru Brihaspati, for 1 month, day and night, he spoke from Srimad Bhagavatam, and I took shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, and because of that, I got an opportunity to become an intimate associate of the Lord. And I was just thinking that how powerful is Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, we are just hearing 1 hour in a day, but he was hearing it like day and night without eating, drinking, completely taking shelter, and then he got a chance. So even if we hear carefully 1 hour in a day, someday we may also get a chance to become an intimate associate of the Lord. Well, anyway, there are many pastimes, but I wouldn't want to go so long. I'm sure you may all have some other things to do. But finally, it was time for Surdas to leave. So one fine day, he doesn't come for Rajbhog Aarti. So Vittalnathji is asking, hey, what happened to Surdas? Why hasn't he come today for Kirtan Seva? And then somebody says, Vittalnathji is not feeling well. Then he understands that, that means Surdas is going to leave the body, because the fact that he didn't come for Kirtan Seva, that means he's about to leave. So he tells everybody, go all of you, go and associate with him. Take his final association. The boat of Pushti Marg is leaving the bank. He's going back home, back to God. And go and everybody, I'm also coming, go and take his association. So then they all run and they enter into Surdas' hut. And Surdas' hut is having a very different kind of a fragrance. Why? Because both Radha and Krishna have personally come to take him. Not only Krishna, even Radharani has come. Both have come to take him back home, back to Godhead. So there's a beautiful kind of a fragrance coming from his hut. And now Surdas is like, very feeble and weak, lying down. And Vittalnathji comes and takes him on his lap. And says, Surdasji, last pad, we want to hear a last verse from you. So then he sings a very beautiful verse and he says, now my life air cannot remain in the prison of the body. I want to go and meet that beautiful Krishna who is having eyes like Kanjan birds, beautiful eyes. So no more can I hold my life in the prison of my body. So like that. And then he starts crying. And Vittalnathji says, why are you crying? Such a beautiful death you have. Lord has come to take you. Devotees are here with you. Then he says, no, I'm feeling bad because I'm showing my back to Vrajabhumi. I'm lying down like this on my back. I want to pay my obeisances to Vrajabhumi. How can I show my back to Vrajabhumi? I'm so lowly. And then Vittalnathji and other devotees, they turn him around. And now he's on his stomach. So now I'm happy. I want to pay obeisances to the Vrajabhumi and leave my body. So then Vithalnaji is telling all the other followers, all these other disciples, look at his humility, look at his humility. And he says at that time, there are two hallmarks to know, of a pure devotee. One is he has unlimited humility, and one is he has unlimited faith on the name of the Lord. So look at his humility. So humble he is, always calling himself so lowly. No acting, no ornamentation, or no, language, or, enhancing his vocabulary, or just, putting up some words. Really, he's feeling inside his heart, how can I show my back to Vrajabhumi? So then he is, like paying Dandavat Pranam to Vrajabhumi, and then he leaves his body. So, dear devotees, if you ever get a chance to go to Vrindavan, you can go to this very, very special place where Surdaji's Samadhi is there. That place is called Chandra Sarovar. So, I've been there a couple of times. Very beautiful temple of Radha Chandra Bihari is there. And there's also a Shringar Mandir there. In fact, Rupa Goswami says that every day Radha and Krishna, after their pastimes in Radha Kund, they come to this Chandra Sarovar, and here in the Shringar Mandir, Krishna decorates Radha Rani. So this is in Parasauli. You can ask somebody and you can actually go and visit this place. And this Chandra Sarovar is also so beautiful, so beautiful. The last time I went there, I was not able to come out from and that Surdas Samadhi, the whole place is just so pure, so beautiful, such amazing vibrations, And that Chandra Sarovar is very special because that Sarovar is made by the tears of moon god. When Chandra cries seeing the Rasa Leela of Krishna, and with that tears of Chandra, that Chandra Sarovar is made. And in fact, we are always talking about Gopi Geet and how Krishna had this Maharas. Krishna also had Maharas Leela in Chandra Sarovar, near to Chandra Sarovar. Now, Krishna's Ras Leela is of many types, in the sense, sometimes there is a springtime special Ras Leela, summer special Ras Leela, autumn special Ras Leela. So the springtime Ras Leela happens in Chandra Sarovar, which is next to Surdas Samadhi. And this Ras Leela which happens near Chandra Sarovar is not open for everybody. It's only for Nitya Siddha Gopis. So the Rishichari Gopis or the Shrutichari Gopis are not allowed. Only those Nitya Siddha Gopis who came from Goloka Vrindavan with Krishna, with those gopis, Krishna has Ras Leela there. In fact, there is one pastime of Chandra Sarovar, how once Balramji is on top of Govardhan and he sees that there is some movement happening in Chandra Sarovar. So he is peeping and crouching and sitting. What is this happening there? And he sees Krishna. He's having a Ras Leela there, Maharas with thousands of gopis. So he's very happy to see that. But then when he focuses more on Krishna, he's so focused on Krishna that Krishna's color comes onto him and Balramji becomes black Balramji there. And he's completely engrossed, and now what he sees, lo and behold, this is not an ordinary Ras Leela. It's not that there are many gopis and Krishna has expanded and enjoying with different gopis. No, there are no gopis. Radha and Krishna have expanded themselves. So there are thousands of Radharanis and thousands of Krishna. And that kind of Maharasa Leela is very rare. And that goes on up to one night of Brahma. So Balramji has a good time watching it. So at the end of it, Balramji is so ecstatic that his crown falls. And his crown falls and rolls and comes down to the foothill of Govardhan, and there it hits a Shila. And then that Shila has a mark of Balramji's crown. So even now when you go for Govardhan Parikrama, just before Govinda Kund, you can see that Shila. There is always a pujari standing there and he'll show you the mark of Balramji's crown. So Chandra Sarovar is a very, very special place. In fact, in the Garga Samhita, in the 3rd canto, chapter 8, it said that Chandra Sarovar is Girirajji's nose and Mansi Ganga is Girirajji's eyes. And Govinda Kund is Girirajji's lips and Shama Kund is Girirajji's chin. So Chandra Sarovar is very, very special. But you can't see Chandra Sarovar while doing Govardhan Parikrama because it's not there in the inner circle. It's in the outer Parikrama. So if you take Sanatan Goswami's route, 42 kilometers of Govardhan Parikrama, then you can see Chandra Sarovar, but not in the inner Parikrama. So Chandra Sarovar is also a very, very special place. In fact, Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they mention about it. In fact, there is a special Leela that Lord does there is afternoon pastimes. He sits there with all the gopis and they do honey drinking there. They take some honey from different trees and they mix it with yogurt or milk with some scented powders and they They have a good time taking it, and they enjoy with Yashoda's son Nandanandan and have good time taking that honey. So it's a very, very special place, and all devotees can visit it. So with this, I would like to end. I've already gone way beyond my time. So as we hear this beautiful pastimes of Surdas ji, we can ask ourselves a question. Who is really blind? Surdas ji or us? Because he could not see the world. He had no eyes, but Krishna filled his heart. And we have two big eyes, but there is no Krishna in our heart. So I was just thinking that this Purushottam month, maybe we can pray to Krishna that I will not only, do extra rounds and extra fasting and extra reading, but I will try to see you more, extra seeing. I'll try to see you more. See you in everything and see everything in you. That's a goal of devotees in life. In fact, I was thinking that this Purushottam Mas, we can change it into Surdas challenge. Just like the way Surdas was seeing nothing but Krishna. Maybe we can, just blindfold ourselves while chanting our 16 rounds and see nothing of this outside world. And just close our eyes, that's it, blindfold ourselves. This is Surdas challenge. And do our 16 rounds. Thinking about nothing, seeing nobody till you complete the rounds. Don't remove your blindfold. Finish your 16 rounds and then you remove it. That's a real challenge. To try and see Purushottama. To try and see Krishna. So, this Purushottam month, Krishna is giving us one more chance to look out for him. And we can pray that, we don't want to leave this world without seeing you. We don't want to, because if we are not able to see Krishna, then we will be seeing the things of this material world while leaving the body. And Krishna says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Whatever we see at the end of our life and meditate, we will get that kind of a body. So we have to be very serious in trying to see Krishna. So let's push ourselves in this Purushottam month to try and see Krishna. I was just thinking this PUSH acronym, PUSH, P-U-S-H. P is let's purify ourselves, purify our vision. Like take some kind of a vow that I won't watch my phone, or I won't watch this or that or this, at least this 1 month, and purify my vision. P for purifying the vision. And U for upgrading my attachment. We can just make a list of what am I too much attached with. Maybe that one attachment I will replace with attachment with Krishna, whatever, some kind of an habit formation. And S for trying to see Krishna everywhere in small little things, by being grateful to everybody. Look out for Krishna everywhere. Okay, you see somebody beautiful, oh, this is Krishna's, Krishna's opulence, Krishna has created. Whatever you see, just try to see Krishna there. And H for holding on to Krishna. Holding on to Krishna is doing our sadhana perfectly, chanting our rounds, doing our reading, doing everything properly and holding on to him. Sadhana is the only way that we can hold on to Krishna. So let's try and do this push. P-U-S-H, purify our vision, upgrade our attachment, see Krishna in everybody and everywhere, and hold on to Krishna by doing pure sadhana. So, and maybe, who knows, if we do everything sincerely, one day we'll be also able to see Krishna just the way Surdas did. Thank you so much. I'll end it here. Bhakta Surdas ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
सब कृष्णा 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 लगे सब कृष्णा 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 लगे सब कृष्णा 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 लगे जीवन कृष्णा